Very nice.
Yeah, I don't forget to like watch anything, so I was like,
Nice.
that's it. Still
On new it shows that that file was created, but on my OneDrive it doesn't show
It
it.
was like somewhere stuck in the game. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That's
I
all
think I'm
that.
fun over here.
I'll use the bigger, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
All right, good afternoon. Today I wanted to go over the modeling of our invention stuff. So I'm going to show two different ways we could model stuff inside of Maya and then inside of Fusion. So depending on which one you like, you could use either one.
Well, 740's out.
You can use 742, I don't care.
Okay.
Um,
740 is kind of tricky, so.
they're all the same. It's 3D. So if you remember, I had some plans for this plexiglass slide holder and then this pen holder were the other things that I had. I'm going to build both of these just so you can see how to do them and then why we may choose one over the other one. I prefer for a lot of stuff to use Fusion because it is much more accurate. I don't have to mess around with a lot of random stuff versus Maya, which, you know, we don't even really know what size anything is when we create it. So we have to be very aware of that. So I'm going to build this thing here. So as I build something, I want to build the items that are relevant to it. So for this one, I have my pen holder for my tablet. So this was the thing that would go on top of my monitor. Here's the monitor's dimensions. And so I'm going to build a shape that is this width right here by this width right here. And then this monitor width, just so I know, it's like 1 centimeter. So I'm going to go into Fusion and I'm going to go to Sketch. I'm going to go to Circle. I'm going to choose one of these directions here like this. And there it is. Okay, so I'm drawing basically in like the side view, the right side view, if you want to be accurate about it. And I'm going to draw this dimension of the pen. So I'm going to click and drag. Now this will be defaulted to inches, but I can tell it to be 1.5 centimeters and it'll adjust for the correct size. So I can also just come up here to document settings and click inches and change this to centimeters. And now it'll tell me 1.5 centimeters. I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to press pull and then I'm going to drag this. And if I look at my dimensions, this is 18 centimeters long. Is how big that pen is. So I'm going to go to 18 centimeters long. Okay, there's also some tapering that's on here. So this is the taper. So it goes from 1.5 to 1. In order to put in a taper, it wants an angle. So who knows what that angle is? We can find that out using some math. So you don't have to do this. This is just me. This is 18 centimeters. The distance from here to the end of this is 0.25. I just took 1.5 minus 1. It gives me 0.5. So I know that the other ones is 0.25 and 0.25. So it ends up with this little triangle like this. And I need to figure out this angle here. And that will let me slice it so that it works. You do the math on it, or we can go to Google and we can find this thing that allows us to punch in a triangle angle calculator. One angle is 90 degrees, one side is 0.25, one side is 18. So it gives me this 0.7958 is that angle, okay? So that's how big that wedge is right there. And because I'm going down and I'm shrinking it, I'm gonna type in negative 0.7958 or whatever it is. Okay, Trevor. So that gives me the tapering that I would have. Now, again, you don't have to do that. That's just me doing it. So I have some reference there. This is just so I have some idea. I also need to have the size of the monitor. So I'm going to go into my sketch again. So I'm going to go make another new sketch. This one, I'm going to do a rectangle. And again, I'm going to draw it in that same view like that. Okay. And I'm going to come down here. I'm imagining that the pen is just sitting here. And I'm just going to go to something like this. And Undo that. Do it again. So this is gonna be 1 centimeter wide. That's what it was. Yep, 1 centimeter wide. By like 3 centimeters tall. That's taller than I need, but it's good enough. I can move this too by right clicking and going to move. Grabbing all of these edges and then moving them over. If I want this to be, over here, then I could do that. I could also, let me delete that, go under the create rectangle, and there's one that's a center. So I could click here and drag up and then do the same thing, 1 and 3. And there we go. Okay, so now I have my rectangle. Now this one, again, I can move it. I just have to click this one and then move that down. Okay, so I have my pen, which is here. I have my monitor, which is there. I'm going to create the surrounding area afterwards, but let's first just go back to our finished sketch. And let's take this and press and pull this. And I'm not going to go the entire distance that I would need for a monitor, just 18 centimeters is good enough. Okay. And now I have my references. I know the pieces that are in here, so I need to then just start to model the piece that I want. Okay, the actual piece I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to model another circle, same direction. I'm going to click and drag. Now, the outside of this is how thick the pen is. So obviously my piece that I'm building has to be thicker than that, like bigger than that. So I'm going to go a little bit past it like this. And then we draw another one that's going to be even further past it like that. Okay. This way I have these two that are kind of on the outside of it. Jump back to my sketch. Back to sketch here, and circle, and it should take me back to that. Cool. I need to cut this. I need a spot for my arc to actually like the pen to sit inside. This isn't going to be something where it would just slide into it. That's the way it's currently set up. I want something I could just set down inside of it. So I'm just going to draw some cut lines. So here to the middle, and then out to here. And then hit escape. So if I click on this, this is the actual like shape that I'm creating, that shape. So now I have a spot for my pen to kind of sit inside there if I need it. I need this to mount to the monitor somehow. So I need to use the line tool and just create some kind of like shape here that could fit to touch onto the monitor. So maybe something like that. And we'll come up like this. Over here. Down like this. Over here. Come up like that. Hit escape again. And now I have this shape and that shape. So like that could be my shape that I create that would then sit on top of my monitor and it would work. There is, remember, a little lip on the top of here. So I do want to have a little bit of a notch, which I didn't really measure, but a little notch right here. So I'm going to go with my line tool again and just draw this little notch that's going to go right in here like this. And then go right there. So now I have, if I look at the shapes, this shape, and that shape should all fit right there. Now we have to keep in mind that there is a tolerance. So even though I measured my monitor and know that it's 1 centimeter wide, if I were to print this, if I didn't leave any room here, it might print perfectly in the right size and not fit over there without me like breaking the monitor. So if that is the case, something I can do is grab this shape. Let me go back to my editing my paths here. I'm going to go to my sketch and I'm going to do an offset. And I need to turn on my previous sketch. So I'm going to turn on number 2 here. I think I'm number 2 there. I'm just going to redraw this one here. Oh, there we go. And then I'm going to go to offset. That way I can grab this path and then offset it further outward, like so. And this is where I can tell it like how far away from the original one I want that shape to be. Okay, so I can still have this little notch here. And then I still have this little like margin, not that one, this little margin that would go along there. Okay, so that way it's gonna fit, but it shouldn't give me a whole lot of wiggle. If I don't like how far this comes down, no big deal. I go to my line tool, I go here, and I'll just do like a cut like this. Hit escape, and now my little notched area is a lot shorter. Okay, that way it's not extruding like into my monitor as much. It's more closer to the top of it. I think that's probably good there.
Like, just like a clip.
Yeah, just like a clip. So it's just gonna like sit on the top and kind of lean back. That's it.
Okay.
Right, so that seems good. I'm gonna go back to finish sketch. And now I'm gonna extrude this piece. Okay, now because I drew all those pieces together, when I do my press pull, I should be able to spin around so I can see it. There it is. And then drag this over here. Try grabbing them again. This. Let's clear these because I grabbed something else. This. Grab this and drag it. Perfect. And I'm gonna go, let's say 3 inches. Now I want to make sure that didn't connect to any of the other bodies that shouldn't have, so I can just hide these. And then now I have like the part. So like that's the part that would then fit where my pen is at. Okay, now just to make additional pieces, just to make sure it's kind of more usable, is I should have some chamfers and bevels on this just to kind of round off these corners so they're not super sharp. The 3D printers don't typically like super sharp edges. So I'm gonna hit S, I'm gonna hit chamfer, and I'm just gonna marquee all of this. And then find out where the chamfer is, there it is. And then drag this in. Now it's not gonna go very far, so I'm just gonna start to drag it and see how far it goes, and then it gives me an error. So I know my range is pretty low like that, 0.08. And that's mainly because I have this tiny piece right here that if I go any further, it's gonna freak out. I could try changing this to distance angle or equal distance or 2 distances, but I think that's gonna be good enough. Okay, so that gives me a little chamfer so that there is a little bit of a break in those edges. And then I'm gonna add a fillet. So I hit S again, go to fillet, grab the pieces. And then again, this is gonna be super small, probably so small that I'm not gonna be able to drag this to actually see it happen. Let's find out. Yeah, it's not moving at all. So I'm gonna go and just type it in. 0.05. Error. 0.02. Error. 0.01. Error still maybe 0.005. 0.00. Oh, there it goes. 0.005 seemed to work. There's something wrong. Let's try that again. Here. 0.05. Zoom in super duper close. We'll see those little belt fillets on all these pieces. Then I hit OK. Okay. So like that piece, as far as modeling goes, is done. This could look a bunch of different ways. Obviously in my sketch, I kind of had these ideas like this one that kind of sat at an angle, like this one that would have a little bit more flex to get in. That's all the ones that I could have gone with when I started to design that. If I want to create some other, if I want to put my name on here, whatever, I can go here, I can go to sketch, and I can go to 2 point, anything really just to get into here. And then under here, there's a text feature. So you could actually click and drag, and I can say Wacom. Click, there we go. Good. Actually, mine's a hue on is the kind I have, so I'll do that. We'll change the height to 0.1 and then just kind of scroll wheel. 0.2, 0.5, there we go. Character spacing, 5. 50. Too much, maybe 100. Go, let's center it. Let's hit OK. And then let's go to move the text so that it is actually centered. That's pretty centered there. One more box over-ish. And then we hit finish sketch. Now those are actually on that edge. So I could go to these pieces here. Click and then push. And then hit OK. And then we would actually get like those letters like inside the tag or inside the shape. So that way, in case you wanted to, know what it's for, then we would have something extra there. Okay. So one of the, again, the great thing about Fusion is that it's so easy just to grab something and just add different shapes and pieces to the elements. If we think that this is too long, we can go in here and just chop stuff off. We think it's too short. We can go back to the original curves that we created this with, which are right here, and go to edit sketch and just extend this. Just go here and extend this down to here. There and then to this. Finish sketch. Okay, now I didn't do that, so then I'm going to go back to my press pull. Press pull here. I'm going to say edit this. And when I select my profiles, I'm just going to add this one into it. Now that will add that other additional piece into my model. Oh, and it crashed.
Oh, no.
No, it didn't.
Oh,
Not about crashing.
did you save?
I did not save. I have another one saved in case it does crash.
Okay.
Okay, now why did it freak out? Well, when I drew the next one, I did not like this new chamfer area that I've created. So you'll see I get a couple errors down here. So maybe I want to delete those. And let's hide our sketches. And then we can go back and add our chamfers again, or maybe just fillets, just straight up fillets. 0.01. That works there, 0.025. Nope, error 0.025. So 0.01. Not crashing, it's just hiding. Right, and then I could add again another bevel if I needed to for that. That's going to be good for this one. Yeah, that works. Cool. Awesome. So now once I have this, then I need to export this out, which we've done exporting before. Export. These should be an STL file right here. And there we go. That's ready to print. So like that STL is like it. Like within a half hour of me yabbing, I made a pen. Another one too. So this one is a bit shorter. This one has a little more design to it. Same thing, same idea. Export it out. I have 2 pen holders.
I have 2 pen holders.
Now, this is obviously a prototype. So I would print this, I would test it out and see if it works. Maybe I don't like how it's positioned. Maybe I don't like how it sits on there, or maybe it's too tight, or maybe it's too loose. Go back to the drawing board and tweak those things. Again, one of the huge benefits of Fusion is that it's so easy to just tweak the settings that we have to change the dimensions of the pieces to then make everything else function. Now, let's go into Maya and we'll build the other one. which is this one here. Okay, so this one is gonna be a plexiglass slide holder thing. I need to do the same thing. I need to build what the plexiglass slide looks like, so 0.5 centimeters by 8 centimeters. So in Maya, you're already working in centimeters, but we don't really notice it because things really don't have a dimension. So I'm just gonna create a cube and I'm gonna come over here and say 0.5 centimeters by 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters. Okay, now I don't really know if that is 0.5 by 8 by 8 because if I were to freeze my transforms, those numbers go away and we can't see what those numbers are anymore. So there actually is a measuring tool inside Maya where we can go to distance. And then we just hold the V key down and click on one corner. Still holding the V key, click on the other corner. And then we can see that definitely is 8 centimeters. Okay. Now, areas where it wouldn't be based on our stuff typing is, let's say we went and grabbed a cylinder. This one looks like it's 1 by 1 by 1. Well, I'll tell you right away, it's definitely not 1 by 1 by 1. Let's go to our measure tool again. Let's go here, and I'm just going to use X this time to snap it to the grid. I don't know why this is so garbled there. That bigger. I can't make it bigger, but it's it's 2 in the height. Like, that's how tall it is. Okay, I don't know why it looks like that, but that's what it looks like. Let's go here and do the same thing. Let's just see how wide this is in diameter. So I'm going to point snap here, and I'll point snap right in the middle. So this is 1 in the radius. Diameter is double that, so it'll be 2. So this is actually a 2-inch or 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter cylinder. Now, the reason that it is not a 1 by 1, which is why this says 1, is because under here, the height is automatically set to 2. So if the height is set to 1, now it'll be a 1 centimeter high thing. The radius is already set to 1. If I set this to 0.5, now it's going to be an actual 1 by 1 centimeter cylinder. So in Maya, a lot of times we will use these measuring tools to figure out the exact size of something because we can't trust the stuff that's happening over here. Okay, now for this design, I'm making these little divisions here. So I have like 8 of these slots. So I'm just going to build one and then duplicate it. And this is the nice thing about Maya. So I'm going to go into creating a cube. I'm going to ignore all my dimensions. I'm just going to build what I think it should look like. Like that, I think. And maybe like this. Okay, so like my slide would like fit into here, let's say like that. Seems good. I'm going to add some extra divisions here. Subdivisions width. Do that way, and subdivision depth. Do that way. I'm just going to slide these out. And then just grab this and extrude it and push it down. And just make sure that it goes obviously below where it needs to go. Okay, so now that's like a single holder. So that could work. Now I'm going to make another one. So I'm going to put my pivot in the corner. I'm going to duplicate it, hold V, snap it here. Hold down Shift, hit D again, hit D again, hit D again, for however many of these I want. 6, 7, 8. I think that's what I said. 10.
Oh,
That seems really long. Let's see how long this whole thing is, just to make sure we're not going over our limit. So just snapping here, snapping there, 27.9. So let's go to Google, 28 centimeters, 2 inches. 11 inches, way too big.
that's a foot.
Yeah.
That's a foot.
So let's delete that. Delete this. Let's delete these other ones. I'm going to take this and I'm going to shrink these size down. So this is just too big here. Shrink this. Shrink that. Again, we'll move our pivot. Again, we'll duplicate. Actually, let's do this first. Let's go to our measure tool. This is 1.24. So 1.24 times 10 is 12, divided by 2.54 is 4.8 inches. Okay, I'll do 8. That should be enough. Okay, so let's duplicate, hold V, snap it, and then hold Shift, hit D. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now I have an 8 slide holder right here. Now these are, I isolate it. They have their faces on both sides. I can't have that. This has to be one solid piece. That's the only way that it's going to print. If I were to send this to print, it would actually print 8 individual pieces right next to each other. Don't want that. So I need to go through and delete all of the faces that are on the inside. So I'm going to go to my front view. Nope, my side view. There we go. I'm going to go to faces, and I'm going to grab all these faces here, all these faces here. That should grab all the faces down the middle. And I'm just going to deselect these ones on the ends because I want to keep those, obviously. Right now, I've just those inside ones where they're all touching. I'm going to delete them. And then I'm going to put everything together. Okay, again, these are all separate pieces. So I need to combine them and I need to merge the vertices. And if I hit 3, it should be one big blobby mess. Yep, one big blobby mess. Perfect. Then same thing, bevels across everything. Grab it all. Let's throw a bevel on here. Let's go to 3.2. I think that should be good. That's done. Now, if I wanted to punch my name into the front of this, that part is a lot trickier in Maya because it doesn't have an ability just to cleanly punch stuff into it like a surface. So I won't be doing that inside here. I will double check all my settings just to make sure that the size is what I thought. So snap that here, snap that there, 9.8 by 10.4. So that should be good. 10.4 divided by that. Yep, just a little bit over 4 inches would be fine. Okay, if it was too wide, then I would go ahead and adjust my settings. So I would probably grab all of these points here, grab all these points here, and then just scale them in a smidge. And now it'll probably be underneath 4 inches. Okay, I don't need this thing. I could delete it or hide it or whatever, but that's now my shape. Now, if I decided I printed this thing and then I realized, oh crap, the size is wrong. I need these to be like wider or narrower or whatever. In order for me to do that, I have to go back basically and redo all the stuff that's there, or grab each one of these pieces and scale up each one individually, or try to just scale this direction a little bit and see if that allows it to fix, or if this allows it to fix by doing that. So if it's a minor change, not a huge deal, but if it's a big change, it's going to be a huge deal to try to fix all those pieces. When I export this one out, same thing, I export it out. And this one I export out as an STL. I don't see STL in here. It's just because it's not loaded in my plugins. So we load it and auto load it. And then when we export this out, for STL. Okay, and then that one is ready again to be printed to the other one. We can also export out an OBJ. Sometimes the software will allow an OBJ to be imported and it'll do all the conversion for us. But that's essentially, that's it. That's all we needed to do. This kind of shape here would be much trickier to do inside of Maya because there's so much stuff that's like, yeah, a lot of points, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening. Possible, yes, but let's just try it and see. So we'll just hide that for a second.
Like, would he give you an error or just won't do it?
It won't give me an error, like it'll still work. I just have to make sure all my stuff is lined up. Can we import a model already created into Fusion and add on to it? If you're using it as a reference, yes. So like if you were to download a model of a Wacom pen and use it as reference, I'd be fine with that. But I want you to build your stuff from scratch. So for my pen here, I know that the radius is set to 1. Okay, so I'm going to set this to 0.75. And then my height, I'm going to set to 18. That should give me the same dimension that I had in the other one. Okay, so there's my pen from the other one. It's not tapered, but that's my pen from the other one. If I wanted this to be tapered, I could take one of these and set it to 0.5. Okay, that's my reference. And I'm just going to scale this down until it fits. There we go. So there's the one that's tapered. I'm going to create a block. That's going to be on monitor. This is 1 centimeter already, so that one's good. I'm just going to make it 18 centimeters this way. And that should be good there. Let's down a little bit further. Okay, so this is my pen. This is my monitor top. Do we use a character we've modeled, or do we have to specifically model everything from the ground up? Oh, for yours, yeah. So for yours, yes, you can add to your model that you have. If you have a character already, that's fine. Just make sure all the pieces blend nicely together. Cylinder. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, and this is going to be. Snap it. So this is going to be the actual holder. So I'm going to put this here, slide it over to this side, and just try to get how thick do I want this to be? Like, let's say that thick. Let's go to faces. Let's delete all the faces on the inside. Let's delete these faces, that face. That seems good. Let's extrude and push this in. Okay. Again, I'm trying to get this so that it lines up correctly with that side. This out a little bit further. We still have a little bit of a margin there, which is good. Now I need to create this little piece coming down here that will rest on this. So I'm going to grab all these faces this way, here, and this. I'm going to extrude, pull this out a bit, and then start to move this down. You'll see I'm constantly jumping back and forth in my other views because I need to line this up perfectly. So I'm going to take these pieces and flatten them out. And then move this down. That's where it's going to touch the monitor. This needs to come over here. This is the front. This is going to come like that, I think. Actually, flatten all of these. Let's just do that. And bring this in. Weird. All right, so there's that piece. So then I'm going to take this. This is the front here. Going to extrude it and then pull it down and then give it a little rotation. And extrude it again. Do that. So there's my little notch. You'll see this isn't, accurate at all. This is just literally me pushing and pulling points. And for the other side, I'm gonna do the same kind of thing, just extrude this, but this time I'm just gonna pull this straight down. I need a little bit more room on this side, so I'll move this over some, this. The reason it's dark is because it's inside out, so I'm gonna reverse it. Now it's not. Okay, so now I just recreated that other piece on here. It still needs bevels and stuff, so we'll grab everything again. Actually, not everything. I don't want these pieces selected. Come on. Let's go to select. Using constraints. Geometry, angle, active. Turn to next. Now that grabbed all of the edges that I would need. I think. Yeah, that's good. Then I'll add my bevel to this. There we go. Now, we'll also notice something on here is that this is not very smooth, right? So this is kind of chunky still. This is how it's going to print. When I'm here in Fusion, this is all nice and smooth as I'm working. When it exports, it's still going to be nice and smooth. While we're working in Maya, that's nice and not nice, but it's blocky looking. If I wanted this to not be blocky, I actually have to go through and add a smooth to this, which might modify some of my stuff to where I don't want it to do that. But if I want it smooth, that's what I have to do. Seems good. I don't like how thick this back part is. So I think I'm gonna grab these and maybe squish those together. Do the same thing here, just kind of squish these together, slide that in. Squish these together, slide that in. Okay. Now, I don't know how wide this is, so I should probably measure that. So let's go to our measure tool. Snap a point here, snap a point over there. And this is 1.9. So this is actually less than 1 inch wide. I'm going to grab this and just drag it to about 3.5. Then I can grab all these, this, and then slide this over here. Again, not accurate. I'm just moving it over to there. And that should give me a pretty decent sized clip. Okay, now there's that one. So it's not that it's impossible to do this in Maya, but it's just not as accurate when we do it this way. We can do other stuff. We can do organic shapes a lot easier in Maya than we can inside there. If I wanted to create, just have an area bulge out of here, I could do that just by grabbing a couple faces and extruding it. There we go. Right, like we can do that pretty easily inside Maya, especially because we're used to it. We know those tools a lot better. If something changes, I change the size of this, I change whatever, the height, the length, I have to go back into Maya and fix all those things and then re-export it out and do all that other stuff. I did not save any of this stuff. Reset this. Invention. Right. Even on my other one, let's hide that one and bring the other one back. If I wanted this one to be like rounded, like I had in my sketch here, I basically have to start this one over from scratch. I can't use that. That's useless now. I'd actually have to go through and create a cylinder. This. Go into my subdivisions and height. Make sure I have enough subdivisions here. I'm not going to measure this, but this is essentially what I would have to do. delete those pieces and then go through here. Continue, right? And then extrude again. And then bring this down and flatten these out. Bring it to like there, and extrude again. That down. And obviously this bottom piece has to be filled in. Even extruded, to give myself a little bit of thickness on the bottom. Okay. Now I could have done the same thing, modeling one and then duplicating it and then whatever, like that would still work. But I have to start with that cylinder in mind first. I couldn't just jump in, just take my original design and make it into a cylinder. Whereas here I could switch to our sketch mode again. Let's go into arc. Let's go into left. I could literally go into here and just draw a sketch again, sketch, circle, that direction. Okay. I can go like this. Finish. And I can take this piece, use press and pull, set this to symmetrical, and go like this. And it'll either cut a hole in it like that, which might be a good, cool thing, or I could intersect, meaning where those two pieces connect, it's going to create a shape there. Okay. And now I have this one that's kind of rounded with that shape. So you get, again, a huge amount of opportunity using Fusion to change your stuff. If we needed to change any of those pieces, we can go back to the original sketch. They changed this because it used to be like the actual size was there. Moved it up a little bit. Hit finish sketch. Now you'll see that it adjusts that one. Okay, so you pick whichever tool you want to use. If you want to use Maya, Cinema, Fusion, some other tool, like feel free to explore any of those. The end result is going to be an STL. It has to be watertight. That means that there's no openings. If there's even a single opening on this, like this face is empty here, it won't print because it'll think it's paper thin and it just won't know what to do. If you don't have it like that, but let's say you had some like surface on the inside and you didn't realize it, like, oops, I have this sphere kind of sitting on the inside. It'll actually print that sphere on the inside. It'll make the entire thing solid, and then it'll look horrible. Okay, it'll be like 10 pounds. It'll be very wasteful.
Oh,
Okay, so think about those kinds of things as you're building your stuff. Questions? Okay, I'll let you work and then I will be around to assist as needed. Have a good one, Zoomers. I probably won't lecture on Wednesday or Monday. That way you guys can just keep working on your stuff. When we get back from Thanksgiving break, then we'll go through doing something simple inside ZBrush and then bringing it into our Unreal world. Cool.